Welcome to Brave New Bookshelf, a podcast that explores the fascinating intersection of AI and authorship. Join hosts Steph Pajonas and Danica Favorite as they dive into thought-provoking discussions, debunk myths, and highlight the transformative role of AI in the publishing industry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Brave New Bookshelf. I'm one of your co-hosts, Steph Pajonas, CTO of the Future Fiction Academy and Future Fiction Press, where we're teaching authors how to use AI in any part of their process, and we're publishing AI-forward books on the press. We're having a great time doing both of those things. I think I talk about that pretty much every week, that we're doing those things, but actually just this morning, I launched 3 more books on the press, which was a lot of work, but also a lot of fun just to see them up there. It's very satisfying to see them up there. And we'll be putting them basically in our membership for free for people to read through the month of April. And then they go into our vault on May 1st, and they will also be sold on retailers and direct as well. And one of the direct partners is actually here with us today, so I will be talking to him about that as well. But before that, I get to introduce my wonderful co-host, Danica Favorite. How are you doing today, Danica?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm super happy to be here, as always. We always have the most fun and interesting guests, and super excited today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Danica Favorite. I am the community manager at Publish Drive, and we help authors at every stage of their journey, from getting the perfect book metadata, book descriptions, AI covers, and then distributing your books to the widest audience possible. We don't do direct yet, but hopefully, fingers crossed. And until then, you have our good friends with Curios. And then finally, once your book starts selling, we can help with some promos. And then if you have people to split royalties with, we can help you with that as well. So between us and Future Fiction Academy, Future Fiction Press, we have a lot of the bases here covered. And really happy about that. Really excited for today's guest, because more and more authors are moving into direct sales. So really happy to see that there's just one more option out there for authors. And yeah, so I think without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and dive in. Greg, why don't you tell us about yourself, tell us about Curios, and how you all got into this crazy book business.
For sure. Thank you guys so much for having me. Love being here. So Curios is a direct platform and marketplace. So basically what we've created is the easiest way to sell direct that we possibly can, and we're always working on making it easier. So historically speaking, if you want to set up a direct sales channel, you've got to build your own website. Usually you can use a Shopify to help with that. You've got to figure out distribution. You're the merchant of record. You've got to collect your taxes. You basically have to do I call it a full-time job just in setup. And then there's another full-time job behind that, just in administration and running that website, right? You're going to be handling customer support requests on a daily basis. And you're the person in charge of that. And I do, for what it's worth, think that it's totally worth it to do that job, right? That amount of work is extremely worth it. When you sell direct, you usually get either 100% of your sale or very close. We're talking like 92% and above of your sale, which is very useful if you're doing promotion and marketing, et cetera. You have more return on your investment to then reinvest into marketing and promotion. The other part of direct sales that makes all that work worth it is you collect the email address. So any promotional work you do, which is usually very costly and costly on both time and money, you then can capture the email and you can use that to retarget, sell them, have them read through the series, get them to buy your next book without having to spend so much time and money on the upfront side of recruiting them. So despite how much work it's been historically, I still think it's the best option. However, we as Curios have tried to upend that whole system, just make it extremely easy. And I think we've done it. You guys can be the ones to let me know how well we are on that process. It's always a work in progress. But with Curios, an author can go from their book being a file on their computer to being live, available for sale in any format, ebook, audiobook, paperback, hardcover, the works, in about 3 minutes per book, I would say. That's about the average. So you can get your own dedicated web page for your work, where you can then start routing your fans and start making those direct sales, where you get 100% of the sale and you get the contact information of who's buying in so much less time. And then in addition to that, what we've built in Curios is we've built a system to where you don't need to do that full-time administrative job post-publish, right? So when you're running your own Shopify store, again, you're going to be administering the site like I mentioned. And on Curios, one of the benefits we have are that Curios is the administrator of that website. So we technically are the merchant of record. We handle the transaction. So that means that we're the ones who have to file the sales tax. So if it's a physical book, we have a nexus in every single state. We're the ones who make sure that organization gets paid correctly for the sale. We also collect, obviously, sales tax if it's something like a VAT, if you're in Europe, that kind of works. We handle customer support. So if somebody's, I bought an EPUB, I thought this was a physical book, we handle that. They reach out to us. We try to make that solution right. And then in addition to that, we also administer the website, of course, right? So we keep the website up, we keep your book available at all times. And that's largely how we run. So that's what we've built. Our goal is to open the doors as wide as possible so that direct can be an easy option for authors. And that has a lot of ramifications, especially in the age that we're in now, where AI is empowering creatives in a way that's never really been done before. So we've got a permissionless and open door to anybody to get their work live, which, that's what we do. That's what we like to do.
I love that so much, especially the merchant of record thing. For those of you who don't know, I live in Colorado. Sales tax in Colorado is it's not the most, but it's one of the most difficult states in the United States to do sales tax. Back in the day, I actually wanted to do more live events and things like that. I took a 2-day class to learn how to do sales tax in Colorado.
Yeah.
And it was so difficult that I finally said, I'm just never going to do this. I'm just not going to do live events. And so everyone's doing, I'm direct. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want the sales tax burden. And when you guys came onto the scene, I'm like, oh my goodness, I think that this is finally doable for me. And I love that you're making this as easy as possible for authors. And I'm curious because I actually don't know, how do you guys handle physical copies of books?
So it's brand new, right? So as Steph knows, Steph was the one uploading at the time that this change went live, but it is brand new. So right now we've got a roadmap. So the first part of the roadmap that just went live is self-fulfilled physical books. So either you, or if you've got a warehouse and somebody who handles your books, you basically would be, when you get a sale for a physical book, we then collect shipping from the buyer. We then generate a shipping label, and then we just give that label to you. And so then you then can print the label, place it on your book, and then deliver it to the carrier. So that's how we handle it for this first roadmap item that we just launched. The second and third, they're going to be released simultaneously in the next couple of weeks. There'll be a print on demand option with Book Vault. So you can just connect your Book Vault account and set up print on demand. And then if an order comes in, we would send that information to Book Vault, and they would then print the book and ship it to the appropriate person. So you're going to be more hands-free. And then we're working with a 3PL system, trying to set that up where essentially it'd be the same thing, right? So you would send your inventory to a warehouse. That warehouse would then store it for you. And when an order comes in via Curios, we send the shipping label to that warehouse. They place the label on, and they send it out. So right now, self-fulfilled is the option. We did that first because everybody's got some books in their house that they can sell. And it also covers the whole gambit, right? It allows you to be, paperback, hardcover, special editions, kind of lets you cover the whole works. Even if you're a large operation and you have your own warehouse, it still works. But we're working towards those hands-free solutions. And you can tell with how we set the company up, our goal is to alleviate the burdens of authors. I have a very selfish interest in that I want authors to write more. So it's like the authors that I love, they'll spend quite a bit of time in between books, and I get it because they're relatively famous. They have to run the administrative side of all of that. And it's like, well, I want that to just be offloaded, and authors can be writing more books, and they can be making plenty of money from their work so that they're not working day jobs or doing other things. I want them basically writing. And again, that's the selfish part of me. It's like, I want to just empower creatives again thing.
You're doing a great job of making sure that it's easy on authors for uploading. So I've been doing this with Future Fiction Press for a while. We had an account with you guys like last year or maybe the year before that. I don't know. It's been a while. I feel like I've known you for at
Yes.
least 2 years now. So it's
Yes.
been a
Yeah.
while. But I started uploading books for Future Fiction Press and it literally is like 3 minutes. Like title, blurb, maybe ISBN, files, boom, you go. It's so
Yep.
easy. Very easy. And then we also have to talk about the different levels of the accounts at Curios as well. Because a
Yes.
lot of authors I've heard from that they don't necessarily want to spend money on a direct store, but I remind them that, hey, if you sign up with Shopify, you have to pay Shopify fees. You have to do the same with PayHip and a bunch of other places. So Curios is not different in that matter, but you guys have a free tier to get started, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And yeah, thank you for bringing that up. We run into it as well. So essentially, the way we've designed our payment is we have a free tier and we want authors to be able to find their success on that free tier. And then you bump up to a paid tier, and the paid tiers are very low, right? So we're going from free, I think it goes to $5 a month, which also honestly goes on sale all the time. You can usually get that for like $2 a month. And then it goes up to, I believe it's $20 a month. And then it goes up to $50 a month as the max. So the idea though is you'll be able to afford it when the timing is right. So it's like you'll be on the free tier, and then once you hit 10 sales a month in direct sales and you get all of the royalties, it becomes very easy to pay $5 to then run that site, if that makes sense. So that's the way we've designed it. We design it in a way where like it will make sense for you to upgrade as you have funds. And it's not something where we're going to be like, you must pay up front. And we just really are trying to milk the whole industry until, promising them the world is going to be amazing when they go direct, because honestly, it still is a long journey. So it's like you've got to do a lot of work on the promotion side and the funneling side. So while you're setting that up, you're not burning capital on your direct store pages. So that's largely how it works, how it's set up. We charge monthly. Again, we have the free plan, and we encourage everybody just to start with the free. Unless you're pretty confident you're going to have a high volume of monthly and you want to get some of the special tools, start with the free. And then we do charge a very small percentage on the sale to the buyer. So what we have to do is we have to charge for credit card fees, right? So that's usually around 3% and I think 35 cents. We tack that onto the buyer, and then we also tack on a small fee. It's usually about 3 or 4%. The goal is to make it be within that 8% window in total. So that's, usually a sales tax. And at least in the US, everybody's accustomed to 8% being added on. And we really don't see any issues in checkout where people are dropping carts because there's 8% added on. So that's the two ways that we make money. And the reason we charge the buyer at checkout is we enable permanent delivery of content. So we're basically taking a few cents and then we use that to like keep the content on a server so that person has permanent access to the book or the audiobook or whatever it is. So that's kind of how we afford that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I was glad that you brought that up because it really is an interesting way of making sure you guys get paid, the authors get paid, and where those costs are. Because again, people are like, oh, this is so expensive. This cost, that cost. And what you're doing is that cost of the transaction, rather than the author having to eat it, you actually are passing that cost on to the buyer, which I think is very unusual in the market.
It is. Yeah, and in the book world, we've gotten feedback on that, and we're working on figuring out what we want to do there. Some of the feedback we've gotten is authors would like to bake that in or have the choice to, and so we're working towards a solution where an author can select if they want to absorb those fees or give them to the buyer. But the root of where it comes from is we want the creators of the content to be free. And I know it sounds dramatic when I say be free, but it's like, if someone buys a digital file directly from you and you use a service to then deliver that file to them, you have to, technically speaking, pay for that service for the rest of your life, because you've told this reader you can buy the ebook or audiobook from me. And then in order to read it, you're going to use a service to receive that. And it's one of those things where, like, technically speaking, you're kind of beholden to deliver it to them. And those services usually charge monthly. So it's one of those things where we're like, how can we collect upfront that amount so that we can put it on a decentralized server that allows it to be delivered forever? So that's why we designed it that way. But again, we're trying to work with, we listen to feedback very closely. And actually, Steph is one of the people who spoke to us at the earliest stage. Like we met, I think, when we were like 1 month into books, and we had sat down at a bar, and I pretty much listened to you and Elizabeth for, it might have been several hours. And I kept a lot of those notes and was just basically like hammering through and re-updating. Because ultimately we're building this for authors, right? We have other creators on the platform as well, but if authors want a tool, we usually comply.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun because you guys were just starting out, and I was like, "Oh, the world's your oyster. Let's talk about all the possibilities that could happen right now." And I remember one of the things was your app that you had for the phone, iPad, etc., wasn't working yet. You
Oh,
were like,
yeah.
"Oh, we're still working on it." And I was thinking, if you can get that going, then you'll really pull out ahead, because if an author can deliver their ebook or their audiobook straight to an app that somebody can just download and listen to or read right on, that right there is golden.
Yes.
And then you guys got it working.
We did. Exactly. Yeah, that was a very fortuitous conversation. It was really nice. Both you and Elizabeth, that was like super helpful for us. So, yeah, it was an interesting time. We had almost, it wasn't that we stumbled into books, we very deliberately went into books, but we were so new. And it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, we were sponges, ready to just absorb whatever it was to make this thing work well. So,
You
yeah.
guys had like a flagship author who really helped you along at the beginning, didn't you?
Yes, we did. And that was another extremely, so I've even now realized how lucky we were with this. Pretty much, I think every so often, like, yeah. My theory on this is you get this lucky once in your life, and this was it for us. And the flagship author was Willow Winters. And where we got lucky was so many timing pieces came into play. So she happens to be very generous. She's very tech forward. She's always willing to try new things. And we were speaking to her about our platform, just picking her brain on what authors need and things like that. And she was like, of course, I'll give you guys an audiobook. You guys can put it on the platform, use that to test, just be a beta, sort of thing. And we were like, great, we'll do it. And within that very first week, so we ended up getting the book from her. We were uploading, we were playing around with it, seeing how it worked for delivery and things like that. It was an audiobook. And then within that week, YouTube decided that her content was pornographic, and it wasn't, right? So she had her back catalog of audiobooks were available on YouTube, and she was giving them out for free. And there was no visual pornography. She had the age designations appropriate with YouTube's policies of 18 and up, and contains mature language and things like that. And again, it was just her audiobook on YouTube, no visual, no nothing, which I mean, is hilarious, because if YouTube thinks that's pornographic, like I can show them like hundreds of videos where there's like actual pornography, but whatever.
I'm sure.
That's a whole conversation.
That's a whole other conversation.
But they had deplatformed her. So she had over 100,000 subscribers. There were several readers of hers that were in the middle of a book, right? In the middle of an audiobook, and now boom, gone. And then there's no rectification for that either. When YouTube or other like these large social media companies, when they remove your access to your account, Meta is notorious for this as well. It's just cold turkey. There's no way for you to rectify. There's no way for you to even like ask them if you can fix it. It's just gone, done, forever, permanent. So she was obviously very upset by this. And we had fortunately already been speaking to her about what we're doing, what we're trying to do, how we're trying to make things permissionless and access and all that. And she was like, I'm bringing all those books over. And we're like, oh, great, wonderful. So she brought over that whole back catalog. And then this is where the lucky part is, like, we didn't really understand how in tune she is with her audience and her readers, and how much her readers support her. So she told the story, on Instagram to her reader base, and they all came in droves. So we went from having one trial book that we're just like playing around with to having something like, I think she brought over at first, it was like 15 books. And then 100,000 readers, just like boom. And it was well over 100,000. I think it was like in the 120,000s or so, but that many readers just came on within that first month. And we were just like, oh my goodness, there is something humongous here. Because I knew there was a problem in books, specifically audiobooks, because I had remembered Brandon Sanderson's epic post about Audible and their rates and all that. But I didn't really know how systematically bad it was. I assumed, okay, I buy books, people buy books, authors are going to make money because people are buying it. We had come from the music business where nobody buys music. So the musicians that have trouble, like nobody's even paying for music. And then you go to the author space where I was like, at least people are paying for stuff. But then you come to find out it actually, in my opinion, it stings a little worse knowing somebody pays like $12.99 for a book. And then when you get like $1 or less for it, it's like, you're like, well, that kind of stings. So in some ways, I feel like it stings worse on the author side. But regardless, we didn't really understand how much the space needed direct solutions. And then we were very fortunate in that too. So we were fortunate to have Willow come on, fortunate for her to really test our platform with Trial by Fire. And then I feel like I was very fortunate to meet you guys, the FFA group at Author Nation. That was wonderful as well. Because that then also, like, when you're developing something, you're walking with a blindfold on for the most part. And you guys were like, let me show you what everybody wants, like right away. And that was really nice. So yeah, thank you guys for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We opened the door and we said, here are all the possibilities of things you can do. And
Exactly.
it was a really cool conversation because we got to see you guys at the infancy. And now I've been able to watch you grow and actually add in all of these tools that we've asked for. One of the ones that I thought was really cool was that when I'm just going to go off on a little bit of a tangent was that when we uploaded the books, you get a little marketing graphic that you guys generate,
Yes.
like an AI marketing graphic, and they are always fun.
Yeah.
I'm always like,
Yeah.
what's it going to look like? So I wait at that page to see what it generates for me. So it's really cool that you are adding in some AI tools as well. Is that one of many that you're planning? What are you planning with that?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So we're planning, like, we're thinking about AI, I think the same way that I think authors are as well, or at least should be thinking about it, in that it's a tool for empowerment. So there are things that we don't want to do. If you're doing the job of your dreams, there's like probably 40 to 50% of it is just stuff you don't want to do. And I think for authors, a lot of that's marketing. So it's like if we can kickstart how marketing could work, like one of the other tools we have is animated covers. And that one, I'm actually I need to switch out. So we generate the marketing images now at Publish. I want to switch out and animate the cover at Publish because it's just really fun. And there's all kinds of advantages to a video over image for promotion, but that's a little bit more in the weeds. But yeah, so on the marketing side, we want to help automate those pieces. We're also working on the nurture side. So basically, we have a whole tool that's not released yet, but it's called automations. And it's okay, setting up any kind of automation that you can around your work. So simple ones are things like somebody finishes book A of yours. What do you want to show them in that moment? You could show them a thank you letter. You could show them a discount for book B. You could show them a discount for a bundle, so like letting you set up what happens at different places on the platform. Similarly, of course, we're going to offer that for the standard sort of upsells like post-cart or pre-cart if you want to do some stuff there. But I get particularly interested in the consumption portions. So because we have the app, fortunately, we get to be the whole picture, right? So we know when somebody purchases, we know when somebody opens the book, we know when somebody finishes the book. And there's all kinds of cool things you can do as an author in that, right? Like, again, even just thanking them, it's kind of nice, So we have a whole automation category that we're working on. And that's kind of, I think, the next step that we're building AI tools for it. So of course you can write your own thank yous, you can write your own pieces, but also like you could upload 10 examples and let AI just handle it or start handling some of the nurture process. So that's the next one coming down the pipeline. And then we're always ideating or open to suggestions, of course, as like things come up.
I think this is so cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I've got one book that I technically have all the rights to. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go put my one book
Oh,
out.
you should totally do it.
Book.
Yeah.
But
you could do it while we're talking.
I could, but this is so fascinating that I'm like, no, I want all the details.
Yes, for sure.
But one of the things I want to go back to one of the things you said and bring up a second one, because I think these two are really important points for our listeners. Because it's like, okay, why are we talking about direct sales as an AI forward podcast? And so The first one is when you're talking about Willow Winters and that idea that her stuff was taken down for being pornographic for YouTube, which it isn't.
Right. It's a
But
joke, but yeah.
like, I know the answer to this, but like, what are your limitations on spice levels and even AI usage on Curios?
It's a great question because, yeah, even though I know you know the answer, it's one of those things that it's worth mentioning every time. So we have actually no limits on spice levels and we have no limits on AI usage. And the limit we have right now is a limit on the visual pornography side because there are laws in the US about potential access of minors and things like that. So in the current iteration, we're basically just being like, okay, on the visual side, no, but when it's a book or an audio book or anything along those sides, we're wide open. The other piece that's interesting is we have two sides of the site. There is the public side where you're able to see content, you can see books, you can browse books, you can purchase them, all that. And then we have the back end of the site where we're actually delivering the files. And so those are actually separate. And the delivery of the files is it's not public, right? It's private only to the person who purchased the content. So that's where we're exploring, like even opening those doors even wider and being like, well, okay, like if we can ensure age verification, then we can ensure, okay, then even more sensitive content in theory could be delivered on the backside of it. But yeah, that's kind of it. And then on the AI side, we are just wide open. And part of it again goes to the structure of the site. So the way the site's organized is it's a marketplace. So we show content. We show tons of different content. We're working on this a lot. We're working on improving our genre pages, improving our recommendation algorithms and all that so that content can be surfaced and people can browse and find something great. But the majority of transactions still come from the author leading a reader directly to their specific pages. So in that, if you write an entire book using only AI and you don't even edit it yourself, you let AI edit the works, it's just like truly deeply raw AI, and you're bringing readers to it and the readers are enjoying it and reading it and buying it, we could care less. You're the one driving the traffic, you're the one getting the results. It's like it's not a zero sum game in that way. So the way we have the site set up, we're completely open and permissionless in that way. It's like, and that goes to the point of Willow, right? So Willow's readers loved her content, right? And Willow wanted to give that content to her readers. She was giving it to them for free. So the two parties that matter were getting what they wanted. And nobody else is like stumbling across these audiobooks and like listening to them on YouTube. Like YouTube's not actually protecting anybody. You know what I mean? It's not like people were like, oh my gosh, YouTube just served me this book up and I couldn't believe what I heard. Well, that's what I think was so ridiculous about it. So it's if you have readers that want the content and you have an author who wants to give that content to the reader, like who is a platform to step in and not allow that is kind of where we stand. So you can tell I'm pretty passionate about that topic.
That's
It's one of
great.
those things of just like open access.
You should be, yeah, but this is a good topic to be passionate about because I agree that I feel so bad for all of the authors who get deplatformed from YouTube and they're actually they spend time putting the books up there. They spend time getting more people to their page, subscribing, listening, and then they get monetized finally, and they're finally making money because there is a long stretch before they get monetized where they're not making anything. And then they get deplatformed over a sex scene in a book. And you're like, ugh. And I do caution authors now, like if you have some spice in your audiobooks, maybe redact it or censor it or whatever for YouTube, but then nobody necessarily wants to do that.
Right.
That if it's a romance book, like those scenes are pivotal to the story where the hero and heroine or whoever it may be are finally connecting and boom, it's an emotional period and then just to have that cut off, it's where are we going with that?
Yeah, exactly. Or like to have characters start out at one emotional connection level and then all of a sudden just appear at a different one without the context of how they got it doesn't make sense.
It's disappointing, right? So
Yes.
it's good because we want to be able to serve our audience. That is the goal of most authors. It's like we write the book because this is something we want to write. We're excited about it, but ultimately we want to publish it and serve readers. And we love to see them read the books and be excited about them. We need platforms like this who are willing to be be in the middle and get those files from one place to another without giving us any kind of crazy roadblocks. So
For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yep, for sure.
I really appreciate that too, because one of the things that we're really proud of at Publish Drive is a lot of authors who have been deplatformed, particularly on Amazon, because Amazon's another
Yes.
one. They can pull the rug out from you and it's just gone. And so we work really hard to give those authors a place to publish their books. But ultimately, because we're connected to the stores, we're still beholden to what the stores say. So even though we would love to have AI content, which we do allow AI content, but ultimately, if it's raw AI stuff, we have to send it back to the author because we know the store will penalize us and potentially cancel our accounts. And the same with spicy stuff. Like certain stores don't want high spice levels. And so then we have to kind of balance, okay, what are authors writing and producing versus what do the actual retailers want? And so to have
Yes.
something like Curios where you're like, hey, we're not here to decide what is good content and what is not, because I don't want to make that decision. And we have these meetings and decisions and discussions all the time at Publish Drive. How do we balance that? Because we don't care what you publish, but the stores do. And you're the storefront. And so you can say, no, you can publish here. And so that's, I think, so important for authors to understand that there still is a place for their voice. There still is a place for what they have to say. And I don't want to fully get into this because Steph and I are already irate about this, but the
Yeah.
AI detectors are wrong. And
Correct. Yeah.
so, like, even us who's trying to say, okay, is this AI? Is this not AI? Will the store get mad at us? Like, we're trying to rely on an imperfect tool to determine that. The stores are relying on an imperfect tool to determine that. And you guys are saying, we don't care.
Exactly.
I love this. So, for everyone who's out there producing their AI books, here's a solution for you where you're not worrying about having to jump through those hoops.
That's exactly right. And that's like that is like the root of what we aimed to build in the very beginning. It was one of those things where, because we came in the music business, and it was one of those things where these musicians are completely beholden to a platform. And the platform rules makes their rules. And in the author world, it's no different. Exactly what you mentioned on the retailers is that you have, if you want to sell on the retailer, you still have to abide by their rules, and their rules can get crazy. So we were like, okay, at the very base, there needs to be an alternate way to get your content out there. So that was one of the things we just want. Here's a door. You can always use this door. And then the other component of it is like, even if a platform is accepting of your content, they still change their stuff up all the time. Kindle Unlimited could decide, oh, we're going to give you less per page read, right? Or Audible, right? Audible just made their change where your books are included in the all you can listen program. And now authors, they say you're going to make more money, but probably not. You know, they don't make these changes to then all of a sudden give up some of their revenue. So it's one of those things where you can be into a platform and then the platform changes and that affects you heavily monetarily from your business side and how things work. And the worst feeling is when you have no other option. If you're like, okay, that just leaves me with nothing else, or if it leaves you with spending 4 months setting up a Shopify store, like that's also difficult. It's a huge shift. So we were like, okay, we need to make an open door that works well, like meets authors financially where they want to be met so that they have another option, right? So, okay, Audible raises their rates and you don't like it, then you can move. We want to create a system where you can actually boycott a service instead of having to like begrudgingly accept. So there's those two sides that we want to fight.
Yeah, yeah. Because again, like I know the authors right now are up in arms because KU admitted to one of the authors that their reporting is messed up and they are not
Right.
correctly reporting their books.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Authors are really upset right now because so many authors who are in KU are seeing really significant nosedives in their income and they have no control over that. They have no
Exactly.
recourse for that. Like it isn't like they can go to Kindle and say, "Hey, could you please fix this?" They're trying and Kindle's like, "We don't care," because we all know that really books are the loss leader for Amazon at this point.
Right. Yes,
Why do
exactly.
they
Grown
about
out of it.
fixing? We've got you who is saying, "Hey, you get the whole pile of money."
Yep.
And however you want to price it is up to you. And so
Exactly right.
That to me is really powerful for an author, because suddenly you're not beholden to the whims of somebody else telling you what your book should be priced, what's a fair price. Amazon's another one where if you've got a really expensive book, Amazon says no.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Or a very inexpensive book. You're sacrificing enormous percentages because if it's under what I think it's $2.99, right? And it's like, well, there are some novellas where it's like this, I can't charge more than $2.99 for this. And yeah, so yeah, that bothers me. And to what you're mentioning in the music business, it's theoretically been corrected, but obviously nobody knows. But it's all this black box, right? Where it's like the record label is supposedly able to know how many plays there are, how many purchases there are, and the money comes to them. And then they're supposed to then pay you per your contract. But again, it's this black box where it's like not auditable, very hard to figure out exactly what came where. And that's why there were, so many lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit of famous musicians suing their record labels, suing their management companies, because they were like, there's no way this can be correct. There's no way that my one, this is accurately reporting how much my music has sold or how much my music's been listened to. And you have those same problems on the author side where it's you're reliant on KU to tell you your page reads. And if they've got a mistake, that's that. And yeah, it's yeah, I don't want to sow the seeds of conspiracy, but it's one of those things where it's when it's a black box, you're always wondering like how accurate is it? And that's what's annoying. So,
Yeah, we're dealing with that all the time. Even when it comes to sales,
yeah,
there were plenty of times where I was just like, I know I got a sale because somebody showed me that they bought the book, and yet
yes.
I don't see it on the dashboard. And where did they put
Yeah,
it?
exactly. And it's
These
just
things
you're
happen.
immediately suspicious, and then that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even again, like what I'll see at Publish Drive, same thing where authors will come to me and say, I know I made the sale. And they're like, it's not in the dashboard. And I'm like, but this is what the store told us. And so all
Exactly.
of us are beholden to what those big stores tell us. And sometimes it's right and sometimes it's not. And then people are like, but this doesn't seem fair. And it's not. But you have these stores that are run by big corporations
Mm.
like Amazon, and they don't have to be transparent.
No, they really don't. And it's what is again that begrudging acceptance. It's like, well, we can change the rates and watch what'll happen. Everybody will stay because there's not really another option. So it's like one of those things where we have to build the option. And then also, this is the soapbox time for me, but part of building the option is on the author side, actually using those options. So it's like on the Curios side, it's like the more authors that use it, the more that direct sales can become normal and the more readership can come through. And then hopefully, our goal is obviously to change the whole industry. So we push on our side, authors push on their side. And I think that's how you can change an industry in a super peaceful way. You don't have to hit the street or protest and march. You can just opt out. It's your work, just opt out. So that's where we like to be.
Yeah, and that's what indie did. Like indie came and
Exactly.
changed the industry, because I remember back in the dinosaur age, back when ebooks first came out and everyone said no one's going to read an ebook. No one
Right.
cares what are we going to do with this? And then suddenly ebooks became popular, and then it was, oh well, indie authors, their book is garbage, so no one's
Right.
going to read it. And now you have big publishers picking up indie books. And it's, wait a second, like the whole business model keeps changing. So why not change this way as well?
Oh, I totally agree with that. I think, especially in that early time of publishers deciding, being the tastemaker, like deciding who is good and who is not good, I think is ridiculous. And that's what I love about the indie movement is it's, oh no, people like this book or they're going to like this book. I wrote a very good book, and watch people like it. And they have the empowerment to then get there, which I think is really awesome. And then, Danica, as you mentioned, the reversal of the big traditional publishers is very interesting to see now, right? They're waiting for indies to have success, and then they're coming in and picking them up at that success point, which I think is great, because I think that's a moment where the indie has leverage and they can then say, yes, no, I don't like those terms. I make more money on my own. They have power to leave. Whereas in the previous kind of model, which they still do, when they offer you a deal in the beginning, everybody has a little bit of, you're a little insecure about your work. So you're kind of like, well, maybe it's not that good. Maybe I should take this check and just money in the hands better than potential money sort of thing. So it can be a difficult time in the beginning to make that decision. But once you've got direct sales under your belt, or even not even direct sales, but once you've got your own sales under your belt, you're able to leverage in a different way. You'll be like, that's a bad deal for me. I made that last month, or I'm confident I'll make that sort of thing. So
the power structure has changed now significantly, I think. I think that now traditional publishers are a little bit on the back foot as they try to figure out what's hot in the market, but still be able to produce the books that they want to or need to. I mean, it takes them a long time to get a book out to market, whereas indies, it's
yeah,
like we can, even without AI, write a book in a week and publish it.
that's right.
It is
Yeah.
totally possible. So the power structure has changed pretty significantly. And I think that just giving the indies more power, more freedom to make the choices about their books and how they're sold is really helping the whole entire market for everything.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. It's one of my, we're seeing the signs of it, but it's not fully adopted. But it's like the thousand true fans idea, and it's like, well, when you make all of the money, you actually don't need as big of a fan base, and you can write in super niche worlds that are specific to your group, and they can support you that way. So that's what we kind of like that theory as well. And I think the world of content is going to get way more interesting as a result. Just think
Yeah.
it's going to be so much more fun.
I agree. I think that's where everyone's so afraid of AI and what AI is doing. To me, it just expands so much more possibilities. And I think, again, the content, like you were saying, the content's going to get more interesting because at some point, yeah, right now people complain that the AI voices are all the same. And I know Steph and I were just in the AI for Authors group where they said, yeah, like each AI tool has its own voice. It does. And eventually, though, the people who are really good at working with this content are going to create these things that are just so indistinguishable. And even
Right.
Steph was saying her mom can't tell when the AI has written stuff for her, which I think is, yes, that's the
Yes.
goal.
Yeah, exactly. I also think, I think that the AI voice sounds the same if you're prompting it kind of in a generic prompt. Like it does have a voice, but you can have that voice change quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we are running low on time. Is there anything else you want to share with us and with our audience before we close out for this podcast?
Yeah, maybe
Sure.
anything that you've got coming up, new things that are happening, Curios, etc., whatever.
Yes, for sure. So, new things happening on Curios. Obviously, we're our foray into print. We're like full bore with it. So right now, it is technically in private beta. So if anybody wants access to it, all you do is email greg@curios.com. It's helpful if you put in the subject something about private beta access or something like that, because that helps me like quickly hit those. But we'll open that up for anybody that wants it. And basically, it's just my encouragement is just try it out, right? It's free. You can go to studio.curios.com, upload a book, see how it works, see what the pages are like, and then it's yours to do what you want with. It's not something like you have to make a critical decision or a permanent decision. Just check it out. And most importantly, I just want people to know that it exists so that when you do find yourself in that inevitable place of being upset at a platform or you wanted to try a deal and you didn't get it, go prove the trad wrong. Prove them wrong that your work is better than they thought and go get your own sales.
I love that. Perfect, because I want to encourage people to make sure that they have their options open at all times.
Mhm.
We do that with AI, we do that with our business, and now we can do that with how we're selling our product as well. And it's really important to keep those options open. So thank you so much for being here today. I love talking about your business. I think it's a lot of fun. You guys are doing great work, and I love the fact that you are listening. You are listening to authors, you're listening to the people on your platform. So, anybody who is listening to this podcast, you're already on Curios or you're going to go try it out. Be sure to let them know how you feel about the platform. Give them your feedback, because this is how we make changes, right? This is how we're making a change in AI with this podcast alone, by talking about it, talking about the pros and the cons. And the more that we're in the conversation on any one of these things, the better the outcome is for authors and for people who are going to be using these platforms. So please definitely let Greg know
Oh, yeah.
how you
Yeah.
feel about it when you get in there. Great. All right, perfect. So thank you again for being here today. Is there anything else that you want to say before we head out?
No, but thank you everyone listening, and thank you both for having me. It's always wonderful to talk to you guys, so I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Okay, everybody who's listening, come by bravenewbookshelf.com. Check out the show notes. We put them together for you every week with all of the information and the URLs and the links and all the tools that we talk about. So come by and check those out. And you can also subscribe to the newsletter. We'll send you the notes the next day after the podcast goes live in case, you're not on your phone and you just want to have it, show up in your inbox. That's fine with us too. No problem. Danica, anything else you want to say before we leave?
Yeah, just a reminder, as always, please go and like and subscribe to Brave New Bookshelf on YouTube and Facebook, and also Future Fiction Academy, Future Fiction Press, Publish Drive. Make sure you're out there liking and subscribing to all the things and spreading the word.
Perfect. All right, guys, it was great talking, and we will see everybody else in the next episode. Okay, bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Brave New Bookshelf. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. You can also visit us at bravenewbookshelf.com, sign up for our newsletter, and get all the show notes.